Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Zubair here. Today I am going to take you through a short demo of BackstopJS. So you may be wondering, what exactly is BackstopJS? Well, BackstopJS is an open source JavaScript based framework that's designed for performing visual regression testing of web applications. So what we are looking at right now is a simple web application that I have created that we will be performing tests on. The first thing that we will do is go ahead and get BackstopJS installed locally. Once BackstopJS is installed locally, we will go ahead and create a reference by which BackstopJS will be able to compare any changes made to the web application in terms of HTML and CSS. Once that has been created, we will go ahead and make some changes and perform the actual testing through BackstopJS. Once the testing has been performed, we will go ahead and take a look at the results and see what BackstopJS has found to differ from the original reference. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started with the installation process. Now, the best way to get this installed is through the instructions provided on the GitHub page. Alrighty, so let us go ahead and navigate over to the GitHub installation page. Alright, so if you scroll to the Getting Started section, we have our installation steps. And for this demonstration, I will go ahead and proceed with the global installation. One thing I do want to point out before I proceed any further is that we need to make sure that npm is installed before we can proceed with these steps. One of the best ways that I can think of to make sure that npm is installed is to just run the npm space -v in the terminal, and if npm is installed, it will return back the version. Once that is completed, we can go ahead and proceed with the installation steps. So to start out, we will run npm space install space -g space backstop.js. And following the completion of the global installation, we will go ahead and initialize our project by running backstop space init to let us go ahead and navigate over to our development environment. In this IDE, you can see that I've already run those commands that I mentioned. So scrolling to the top, the first thing I did was verify that npm is installed, and we do see that npm is installed, and we have the version 9.5.1 of npm installed. The next thing I did was I went ahead and performed the global installation, and once that completed, I went ahead and proceeded with the initialization. Once the initialization completed, what happened was that we had this backstop file get added to our project. And this is where we are right now, front and center. And there's a lot of information on here. I will only be going through a couple of different things that are relevant for this demonstration and for a quick tutorial of BackstopJS. So we will start here with the viewports. Now by default, this JSON file has two different viewports included, one for a mobile or phone and another one for the tablet. For our demonstration, we really will not be focusing on either of these. What we want to look at is a desktop viewport. So let me go ahead and get that added. And perfect. The auto generation will give me exactly what I need. So once I have this, I will go ahead and delete the rest. Okay. So we have our viewport of interest added here. The next thing we'll take a look at is the scenarios area. And so BackstopJS homepage, that's just a label here. I will change that just to make it a little bit more clear what we are actually testing. And the next important thing is going to be changing this URL. So in order to do that, I will go ahead and grab the URL for my website that is currently being hosted on GitHub Pages. So we have that. All right, now we are good. The next thing that we will do is go ahead and create the references. Alrighty, so let us go ahead and get our references created, and we can do that by running this right here, backstop space reference. Alright, and as that runs, we will give it a little bit of time. Okay. Okay, successfully executed. And we see up here that we have this new folder, backstop_data, and it includes bitmaps underscore reference. And so if we click on this, voila, we have a snapshot of what our page currently looks like. So what we will go ahead and do is now proceed with making some changes, and then we will run the backstop test. What running backstop test will do is it'll generate our report, which tells us the differences between our current page and the reference page. So what I have done is I have gone ahead and already made some changes to both the index.html as well as the styles.css file, and I will walk through that just so that we're aware of what we can expect to see once the report is generated. So here we have the reference, and I'll point a couple of things out. So we can see from here that this element has a text reading, "Hello, I'm Zubair." We have gone ahead and changed that in the index file. So if we come here, we can see that this h1 tag has been changed from "Hello, I'm Zubair" to "Hello, I am Zubair." The next change we have is at the very bottom here, we have after the copyright, we have the year 2024. And if you go to the HTML file again and navigate to the very bottom footer, we see that the copyright date year has been changed to 2025. The other thing we did was we went ahead and made a change to CSS as well. So coming back here, we see that this background is black. What has been done in this styles.css file is that background has been changed to a different color. All right, so what we have to do now is get these changes pushed to the repository so that we can run our backstop test. So before I do anything else, I did want to make an update to the gitignore file. So previously I went ahead and added this backstop_data directory so that isn't pushed to the repository. But I think I am also going to go ahead and add this backstop.json file so that is also not something that's expected to be moved to the repository. So we can go ahead and okay. So that is that. And I will go ahead now and proceed with getting this code merged. Git status, okay, get that. Alrighty, so now I will go ahead and navigate over to GitHub and just get this taken care of. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. So it's been merged. Good. I missed that for a second, but it looks like we are good to go. Okay. Alrighty. All right. So that is taken care of. And what we can now go ahead and do is resume with our testing by running backstop test. Okay, perfect. So interestingly, it ran, but it came back to us as a pass. And you know what I think happened? I don't think I gave it enough time to actually have GitHub update my changes. Alrighty. So now that we have gone ahead and given GitHub some additional time to process those changes, let us try and generate that report again. And this time we are expecting to see a failure instead of a pass. Okay. So we did see, although it went by pretty quickly, some red text that said one failed. So let us take a look. Yep, that matches up with what we are seeing here. And this looks like a relatively nice looking report. We have 3 images here. One is the reference, which was our initial snapshot. The second image is a test, which is basically telling us that this is what the page currently looks like, and that is a snapshot that was grabbed. And the third one is for someone who is working in a QA or a testing capacity, probably the most important one. And this is a differential. It's showing us the differences superimposed. So if you click on that, we can take a more zoomed in look. Now, if you recall, there were 4 different changes that I made to the HTML and CSS files. Firstly, what I did was I changed the picture, and we can see that BackstopJS captured that. Second thing we did was change the text over here. We went from hello, I'm Zubair to hello, I am Zubair, and that was captured here as well. Thirdly, we made a change to this background color. We went from black to a different color, and that is represented as being captured over here. And lastly, we made a change at the very bottom, really small, from 2024, we changed it to 2025, and that has also been captured. So overall, these were some relatively simple changes, but as a proof of concept, we were able to see that BackstopJS was able to capture all of them. So for the time being, I will leave it here. In the future, I might go ahead and create a more in-depth and expansive tutorial of BackstopJS to really test how far it can go in terms of visual regression testing. But yeah, that's all. I hope that this has been beneficial, and I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you.